If you feel that America today is completely different from where you grew up, you're not wrong. The world around us changes so quickly that memories become a luxury. From major cities losing their luster to rural areas where people must choose between healthcare and food, every sign points to one conclusion: America will never be the same. We used to be proud to be a nation of prosperity, of unlimited opportunities. But that American dream has cracked. It's not far away. It's right in the house you're living in, right in your electricity bill, in your shopping cart every weekend. This is not just an economic crisis. This is a fundamental transformation that could mean America will never return to its old course. In this video, we'll peel back the layers of truth. Why change is quietly erasing an entire era, who will pay the price, and whether there's any hope left to preserve something for future generations. And if this truly is the dawn of a new era. Are you ready? Have you noticed there's nothing free anymore in America? Even a smile at the airport comes with baggage fees. A loaf of sandwich bread costs as much as a pair of sneakers did in the 90s. And a family vacation, which used to be a reward after a year of work, now looks more like a short-term mortgage than a holiday. They call that inflation. It sounds dry, but in reality, it hurts like pulling out your wallet every time you go to Walmart. In 2020, a dozen eggs cost $150. In 2023, nearly $4. And now, it's almost reached $9. That price is enough to make you wonder, do chickens lay golden eggs? More than 60% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck, working all month just to pay their bills. The American dream is no longer about buying a house, but about paying the electricity bill before it's overdue. But don't be quick to think this is just post-COVID or global instability. Deeper down, it's a system operating on bloated public debt, on dollars printed faster than cold beer at a BBQ. In a global supply chain, all it takes is one ship stuck in a canal and the entire Walmart is empty. And the tourism industry, once a cash cow, has declined to an alarming extent, leaving a void filled by hidden fees. You booked a hotel for $200, but when you check out, the bill jumps to $280 due to resort fees, cleaning fees, and even elevator fees if you used it. This reality is widespread and gnaws at the daily lives of millions of Americans. An uncle in Ohio used to host Sunday BBQs for the whole family. Now he's sending a heads up, be yom, bring your own meat. The retiree had to choose, buy medicine or visit their grandchild in another state. A dinner at Outback Steakhouse can eat up your entire month's electricity bill. And traveling? It's like playing the lottery. You don't know which line the final number will make your heart stop on when the bill comes due. Someone once said, work hard, play harder. But now the saying is more like, work hard, pay harder. You work hard, and the reward is an increasingly empty shopping basket. Have you ever slowed down and wondered, is it possible that is this the fault of the outside world? Or is the system itself eroding? And more importantly, is America becoming a place where even simple pleasures, a trip, a BBQ, have to be bought with anxiety? But money is just the tip of the iceberg. What is truly lost, and much greater, is faith. The belief that America was once the promised land. Now, that land is full of hidden fees and shrinking dreams. And if trust wavers, what else will keep the people here? If prices make us choke in the supermarket, then politics makes us not want to breathe at all. According to a Pew Research survey, only about 20% of Americans say they still trust Congress. In other words, trust in the legislature is lower than the rating of a late-night sitcom. And unfortunately, no one gave us the remote to change channels. In Washington, the government shutdown scenario is a recurring one. It's like a version of Groundhog Day, but not many people can find it funny. Today, we're debating the budget. Tomorrow will again revolve around the debt ceiling. Next week, the House of Representatives leadership tables and chairs. And you? We still have to pay the electricity bill this month, and neither side is volunteering to pay it for us. Today, American politics is like a game of influence, where those with power and connections often sit in the VIP seats. The middle class just shook their heads. I voted, and they voted for power and money. The funny thing, or perhaps truly sad thing, is that this polarization has seeped into every family dinner table. BBQs are supposed to be full of laughter and conversation, but now, the moment someone mentions politics, the entire party turns into an impromptu talk show. But when the party's over and the Medicare bill is in the mailbox, you realize that argument didn't make your prescription bill a penny cheaper. A heart surgery can still cost as much as a new car. We are promised an affordable healthcare system. But in reality, a year's worth of medication can cost as much as private university tuition. And the question arises, if politics is meant to serve the people, why do so many feel like they're just back row spectators, paying for tickets while feeling bored? This is where the bitterness comes out. In America, you have the right to choose sides, as long as you end up disappointed in the end. And the truth is harder to swallow than the fact that more and more people are no longer choosing sides. They doubt whether the heated debates on television will really improve everyday life. That's what's concerning. A country can withstand inflation, even unemployment. But when trust falters, the cracks don't just stop at Congress. They seep into every neighborhood, every family. And then we have to ask ourselves, if politics lacks cohesion and people no longer trust the system, what will keep America standing? But remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Something even more insidious is happening right within society, within the generational structure, within the very identity of America. And that's the real challenge. If the money in your wallet has dwindled and political trust is plummeting, the next shock comes from something no one can control: time and generations. According to US Census data, the social structure is changing. America is becoming increasingly multilingual, multicultural, and younger. What was once considered the American standard of the father's generation is now just one of many coexisting formulas. Whether you go to Texas or California, you hear more Spanish in the markets. In Florida, billboards are bilingual. The younger generation talks about climate change, diversity, AI, and gender identity. Things that sometimes sound like a second language to the previous generation. This creates a silent clash. One side remembers the days when America was strong, simple, and united. The other believes in a new America that is more diverse and global. The result? A society is like a Thanksgiving table. There's turkey, mashed potatoes, pie. But everyone argues about the correct recipe. The pain here isn't just about losing familiarity, but about losing a sense of control. Those who have worked for 40 years, paid taxes, and raised children suddenly find themselves feeling like strangers in their own community. They wondered, do I still have a voice in this country? The media, as usual, turned that change into a television show. One side is shouting, "We are losing American values." The other side replied, "This is the new America. Accept it." But between those two extremes, ordinary people are adrift. At a deeper level, this is a story about identity. The American dream used to be a common formula. Work hard, buy a house, raise children, retire comfortably. Now, that dream is being translated into many different languages and lifestyles. But your wallet still only has one. America was once proud to be a melting pot, a diverse a multicultural stew. But that pot is boiling so furiously that everyone is worried about what the final dish will be. So the question is America becoming a place where many people feel like strangers even in their own familiar neighborhoods? Or is this just a transitional phase to be reborn into a new identity? Whatever the answer, the truth remains clear. American society is changing, shifting, and even changing the language of the dream. And when the social foundation is shaken, the next thing to be challenged will be work and technology, the very things we once believed were our salvation. Society has changed its colors and rhythms, but there's something more concerning. Technology. It didn't knock on the front door before entering the house. He quietly walked straight into the living room, sat down at the table and whispered, "Your job? I do it faster and cheaper." According to Goldman Sachs, AI could replace up to 300 million jobs globally. It sounds grand, but let's scale it down. It could be your desk, or your newly graduated son's desk. And this isn't just about the factory. Welding robots are already used to it. Now, AI can write reports, create Excel spreadsheets, and answer emails faster than even the most diligent intern. The irony is that the middle class, who thought office work was safe, is the most threatened. Accountants, insurance employees, and even junior lawyers are all at risk. You spend 20 years climbing the career ladder, and then a free software can do 70% of your work in just a few minutes. These images are becoming familiar. A 50-year-old father, worried that AI will replace him at work. Meanwhile, his high school child is using ChatGPT for homework to have more time to play video games. One generation fears being left behind, while another sees AI as a personal assistant in their pocket. The pain doesn't lie in the emergence of technology, but in its unforgiving nature. You can struggle with gas prices, bargain at the supermarket, and even change channels when you hate politics. But when the company says, "We're cutting 30% of our workforce because we have AI," you don't have a shortcut. You only have the magnetic card that no longer opens the office door. And then people console themselves. AI will create new jobs. Yes, but the question is, for whom? Would a 55-year-old go back to school to learn Python code? Would a single mother be hired as an AI prompt engineer when her resume is burdened with medical bills? In the US, you can no longer be fired. You are optimized by the algorithm. It sounds more glamorous, but the consequences are no different. An empty desk, and the bills still keep coming. The underlying issue here is that technology was once America's pride. Silicon Valley, Apple, Google. But now it's become a double-edged sword, cutting down the very middle class, the backbone of America. And when the spine falters, the whole body trembles. The question is, if jobs can disappear with just a software update, what will happen to American power in the world? An empire can be militarily strong, but will it stand if the people no longer believe in their office chairs? If technology is keeping many people awake in their own country due to fear of job loss, then out there, the whole world is keeping the US awake because it is gradually losing power. In the past, the dollar was king. Anyone who wanted to trade oil, buy steel, or simply borrow money had to use the greenback. Now what? China, India, Russia, Brazil, and a few new friends, accounting for over 40% of global GDP and openly discussing abandoning the dollar. The risk of a direct blow to America's green pride. This is not a joke. When you travel to Europe, you immediately notice that you get fewer euros for your dollars than before. American power is not only measured by aircraft carriers, but also by the number of bottles of wine you bring back from Paris. At a deeper level, this is the result of a long chain of events. The US printed money to service its debt, while other countries quietly built their own payment systems. The result? The playing field is no longer just for the US. The world doesn't wait for Washington's approval to trade. And as economic power fractures, military strength also becomes difficult to maintain indefinitely. Maintaining 750 global military bases isn't as cheap as a burger combo at McDonald's. It consumes hundreds of billions of USD each year, money that could have been used to build schools, hospitals, or at least make medical bills less daunting. Notably, the US spends more on its military than the combined spending of 10 other countries. Yet at home, people still struggle with gas bills, insulin, and college tuition. An empire powerful on the outside, but the people within sigh every time they swipe their card. For many Americans, especially older ones, in the old days, America spoke and the world listened. Now, America says the world negotiates. That's right, America's position didn't disappear overnight. It's falling apart bit by bit, from missed trade agreements, from allies starting to buy their own weapons, to countries testing alternative currencies. And for the average American, they don't need a geopolitical map. They just need to know. When the dollar weakens, travel, imported cars, and even a Starbucks coffee are more expensive. A shaky global position means the domestic wallet is getting thinner. It's true that the dollar is still strong, at least when it's flying out of your wallet. So, in your opinion, if the US no longer controls the pricing of everything, from oil to technology, will future generations still inherit the American privilege that previous generations enjoyed? Or do we only have the memory that there was a time when America was the center of the world? And that's just the international picture. What's more terrifying? Those changes are reversing, attacking directly at the psyche, at belief, right in the heart of America. When external positions are shaken, the pain is more that the inside is also cracking. Americans are now worried not just about prices, jobs, or global power. They worry about the future of their own children and grandchildren. And the data is clear. Only 39% of Americans believe that the next generation will live better than the previous one. Meaning most are admitting the American dream has evaporated. In the past, that dream was very clear. Work hard, buy a house with a front yard, raise 2 children, and retire with a little peace. Gas under say, a road trip without having to sell a kidney. Neighbors open their garages without fear of losing things. That's the America many older people still remember. Now what? A 65-year-old father in Pennsylvania told his son, "Back in the day, I bought my first house with just 3 years' worth of salary. And you guys, at 30, are still sharing an apartment and splitting the Wi-Fi bill like you're splitting a pizza." That half-joking, half-serious statement struck me right in the heart. The American dream is no longer a dream, but a fairy tale told around the dinner table. This isn't just about economics. This is a collective crisis of confidence. When you look at your medical bills, when your retirement plan evaporates, when the dollar loses its luster, you start to wonder, is this whole system set up to promise more than it delivers? And the media poured fuel on the fire. One side says America is collapsing, the other says America is still great. But between the two slogans, ordinary people only saw one truth. They didn't feel safe, they didn't feel richer, and most importantly, they didn't feel heard. The pain here is nostalgia, the collective memory of a golden age. And when the present is too bitter, that memory becomes even more radiant. People remember 99-cent gas, remember McDonald's being cheaper than a pack of cigarettes, and remember a time when the more you worked, the more you had. Now, doing more only means more bills. Ironically, the American dream now isn't about buying a house, but about surviving medical bills and still having money for dinner. A small dream, shrinking like a wallet. And this is the key point. A nation can survive economic crises, wars, and recessions. But when people no longer have faith in the future, that's when the fatal crack appears. Because it's belief, not money, that truly binds a nation together. The big question is, does America still have a way out? Or is everything we're witnessing just a late Roman version, when the empire still had an army, but the people were left with only memories? Let's try playing the what-if game. What if America today is like the Roman Empire in its late period? Externally, there was still a powerful army. There were still giant constructions, and the whole world still held them in awe. But inside, instability, trust disappears, and a society increasingly only looks to the past rather than toward the future. Does that sound familiar? Rome didn't fall just because of external enemies. It collapsed from cracks within. The elite were alienated from the people. The treasury was depleted by endless war, and the common people no longer believed that the empire truly served them. That's not something from 2,000 years ago. It's a mirror right in front of us. And now, a question silently arises in the minds of many. Is America heading down that very path? A country that still looks imposing on television, still spreads its military bases across the globe, yet allows its middle class to huddle together in the face of bills, and lets retirees wonder if they still belong to the American dream. You know, every empire thinks it's immortal. Rome used to think that. And today, America is also not lacking in confident rhetoric. We are exceptional. But the truth is, no empire is immortal if its own people begin to remember the past more than they believe in the future. The question isn't when America will end, but what version of itself America will become in the 21st century. A late, mighty, but hollow Rome. Or a reborn America, daring to look directly at the cracks to mend itself. And you, the person watching this video, have probably felt the story of late Rome seeping into everyday life somewhere. From the family BBQ table to hotel bills, from political debates to the worried looks of your children. So, we've been on a journey to look back at the changes in America. You might agree, or you might disagree, but few can deny one thing. The America of today is no longer the America that many people grew up with. The biggest question isn't whether America will collapse, but rather, do we have the courage to make it better? Or will we sit and lament the bygone golden age? I'd like to hear from you. Do you believe America can regain its confidence? Or is it all just a case of the good old days being better than now? What do you see as the biggest problem? The economy, politics, or trust within each family? Leave a comment below, not just to share your thoughts, but also to see that you're not alone in this struggle. If you find this video thought-provoking, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Not just to show support, but so we can continue the conversation. Honest, bitter, but real conversations. And finally, a small reminder. This is not a prophecy, nor is it an extremist call. This is just an analysis, a perspective. You have the right to agree, the right to disagree, and the right to reflect. Because in America, at least until today, freedom of thought is still free.